Quickly clearing this board before we start, and I've just got to colour some buttercream. We're doing a frozen cake. It's a baby blue base, so it's chocolate cake, but it's got white chocolate buttercream on the outside, so that's how you get it lighter. So baby blue base, then it's got a purple fault line, like a thin one. Then on the top of the purple fault line, it's going to have a white one, so it's going to be like a double fault line. I've put it on a massive board because it's got loads of like figures going on it, and I tried it on a small board and it just didn't look right, so I'm hoping that the bigger one works with all the stuff that I've got to go on it, because there's a lot. We've got some dried flowers going on. We need to make some little mini chocolate bars. So yeah, there's a lot going on this, and I am so glad that I'm getting it done now, because then I get to go to a barbecue, and when it gets hot, this will already be done. So, because it's not actually too hot in my kitchen currently. It's warm, like it could be cooler, but it's not too hot. I am going to pull that door a bit further open in a second. The board is going to be covered, so I'm not worried about having the silver board. I will tilt you down a little bit so that you can see. There we go. And I'm just waiting for my iPad to turn on, and then we will have the chat. Excuse the mass of stuff here. There we go. Get some air in here. But yeah, so I hope everyone is well. Hi Susie, I am very, very good getting back in the routine. And like today, even though I've got loads of stuff on, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do lives, get them done, and then hopefully people appreciate it. So I thought I'll just start a live, and yeah, fingers crossed it goes well. But yeah, I probably could have done lives the past few weeks, but I just had so much on that I didn't want to risk taking too long to do the cake. So, but today we're doing it in advance. This person isn't collecting until 6, but I'm doing it now because I'm going to this barbecue. So we're doing baby blue base, so I'm adding a teeny tiny bit of this navy, just because I don't know if anyone else finds this, but if you just use like a baby blue, it looks a bit green. Don't know if anyone else gets that. So what I always do is I add a tiny bit navy, Colour Splash, and then I add whatever baby blue I'm using, whether it's Colour Mill or Colour Splash or Pro Gel, and then I find that it just gives it a better tone. Otherwise it is just so green and I really don't like it. So while we're doing that, I'll quickly show you these. This is going on it, which matches the purple fault line, and then this matches the baby blue base, and it's got silver on it. I think it's Romy is the name, and yes, I'm very excited. It's all going to look very good. So, spatula. Let's mix that up, and I'm aiming for a similar colour to that cake charm, so that it matches. So that's what we've got. How close is that? We need a bit more blue, so I'm going to add a teeny bit more of the navy, and then another splash of this Pro Gel one. I definitely prefer this Pro Gel one to the Colour Splash baby blue. Like I say, I find that the Colour Splash one is really, really green, so you definitely need something to counteract that. That is still a little bit more blue, so we're going to, I think it's more that one. We're going to use a tiny bit of baby blue Colour Splash, because I do find that Colour Splash is a lot more pigmented but I try to avoid using it for buttercream because otherwise you will go through so much of it. Unless it's a particular colour tone that they definitely need, then I usually use Colour Splash or Pro Gel. Okay, that's working, so teeny bit more. I've got a new one because I've been going through Colour Splash so much recently. I decided as well, so I only have 2 big ones of Colour Splash, and it was just driving me crazy the amount that I was spending on white and black, because I would buy loads of little ones and I was just going through them. So I finally decided to invest in the bigger ones. If you go on Amazon, they're £15 and it is so worth it. So the little ones are £5 each on Amazon and they're only 20ml. So if you think about it, you're saving yourself £10 by buying the bigger one. So it's just a lot more worth it. Oh, we need a little bit more blue. I'm just going to open this blind so that there's a bit more light. Colour mill. What did I say? I don't even know what I said. Did I not say colour mill? Or did I say Colour Splash? I don't know. Can't remember. I also hate the lids on colour mill because they always leak. I need something brighter. It's literally the tiniest bit out, but I want it to match this cake plaque that I've got. I said splash. Oh, of course I did. So I'm going to try a little bit of sky blue just because it's a little bit more pigmented. It's more of a bright blue opposed to a baby blue. Just because I need that blue tone, because I've got a nice pastel blue, but I just want it a little bit brighter. You know, sometimes when you add colouring, it just doesn't seem like it's doing anything. Hopefully. There we go. Right. How far off are we? It's still... I'm being so pedantic right now. This is literally going to take forever. I don't want it any darker than that, so I'm gonna go with that. So, also we're back on the blue piping bags. I think the last time I did a live, I'd run out and it was horrible because they are just so much easier to use. They don't break. You can fit so much more in them. Right, so get the air out, and then it's just a smooth base, so we're just going to pipe the whole cake. There's no drip or anything, so we obviously have to make sure that the top looks good as well, whereas normally if I'm doing a drip, I just do round the sides and then smooth it on the corners. I don't actually necessarily fill in the top unless I've got some extra. So my iPad has just turned on. So I'm just going to quickly bring up the chat so that I don't have to keep looking on here because that's annoying. So let's bring that up. There we go. We need like elevator music. Right, here we go. What is going on? Right, perfect. So, this cake is going to have, oh, there we go. This cake is going to have so much buttercream on it because it's got so many layers for all the fault lines. So I'm going to try and keep it as thin as possible when I'm scraping it so that it doesn't end up having like an inch thick of buttercream. Also, the live later, it's an 8-inch cake and I should be going live about 7 o'clock to decorate that, and it's a 50th cake, so it's going to be completely different to this, like white, and it's got a stencil on it, so I can show you guys how to use stencils or how I use them. And there's dried flowers, and I think there might be macaroons on it as well. I need to check. At the moment I've literally just looked at this one so that I don't get confused. Right, any extra? There we go. Right. Clean. And then we're going to get a scraper out. As usual, it is Finch Bakery. How many servings do you get from a tall 4-inch cake? I always say that you get 8, and that is by doing 1, 2 like that, and I think it's 2 each side and then 3 in the middle, 4 in the middle. So yeah, that's 8, but most people cut them in half height-wise because they're so tall. So yeah, I tell people that it's 8, but I do say to them that you can get double if you cut it in half height-wise. And I say that for all of my cakes because they are so tall. So whenever I'm asking people about portion sizes, if they say, oh, I want it for 30 people, I say, well, you can either have a 6-inch, which will look, personally, I think it looks better than like an 8 or a 10, but you can have half portions, or you can have full height portions, but you'll have to go for a bigger cake. It just depends. So yeah, it's really just up to them. But I usually say 8. But I find that you can sometimes get more. It just depends how you cut it. So depends on the person, really. might leave the rough edge. I actually quite like it. So there's just a little bit here which I want to tidy. So that is going to be the front. I always mark the front when I'm doing the first coat, or even sometimes the crumb coat, just because it is easier. So where is my pen? Up here. There we go. Right. Obviously, because we've done the base coat, we can't then put the fault line over it because it's too soft. So I'm going to shove this in the fridge, and what I'm going to do is I will make any extra bits that I need to make, so the little chocolate bars, and then we can also just do questions because I don't want to stop the live and then come back. So shove this in the fridge. And hopefully it will set fairly quickly. So if you have any questions, now is the time to ask them because you have my full attention. That is, so we need the mini chocolate bar mould, which is in here. So we're going to be using this one. I sell these on my website for anyone that doesn't know where to get them. You can get them from various places. So we're going to use that. We're going to do various colours because it is a multicoloured cake. So I'm probably going to do some white chocolate, and then I might do some blue ones and maybe purple. I might do all of them. Then pop that down. That's the only thing. I feel like I get so OCD about clearing up my space whilst I'm decorating, but I can't because it's just going to get dirty again. Right. Shove that all in there. I have some spare white here, which is going to be... What's that for? That's for the purple. And then I've got a bag of white here, which is for the white fault line. So it's going to be two. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the purple before I've obviously used this, so then if I need more for the purple, then I can take some from the white. So I won't colour, I'll colour the purple first. That way if there's any spare, I'm not wasting it. What sprinkles? Silver, so we're obviously going to match the sprinkles. I'm going to do some white, some silver. So we're going to be using these two millionaire pearls. They're like hundreds and thousands. And then these are from Sprinkle UK. Don't know if I said that. But they're silver, they're white. Then I have these ones, which are from Make-A-Wish sprinkles. And these are in shade white as well. They're the 6mm pearls. And then I'm using these ones from Tesco's, which I actually really like because they're the perfect size and they're easy to get hold of because they're from Tesco's, so you don't have to order it online. And yeah, they're just chocolate silver pearls. I think they're probably about 6mm, the same as these. So those are all the little extra bits. And then, actually almost forgot, we also have figures. So I'm actually going to unpack these while we're chatting. So I don't need those anymore. Move those out of the way. Right. You filled that piping bag with the perfect amount of buttercream. Do you know how much to use, or was that a lucky guess? I have no idea. It's kind of just from eyeing. Like, I think I've just kind of got used to eyeballing stuff. So I did 3 scoops in there, like 3 scoops with a spatula, because for a 4-inch cake, I find that that's usually enough to coat the outside. And because it's only a fault line, it's not covering the whole cake. Whereas for the whole cake, I think I did 5 scoops. And then I've done another 3 scoops, which is for the purple, which again is a fault line, but those will both be slightly thinner than a normal fault line because it's a double. So the purple doesn't need to be extra thick because it's going to be covered with white anyway. So we don't have to worry about that. But yeah, it was just a lucky guess, if I'm honest. Sometimes I make a guess and I guess wrong, and then I have to make more buttercream because it's in the wrong colour, which I actually did yesterday. I have, for this cake, obviously it's a 4-inch, and for some reason in my head when I was making the buttercream, I was making it for a 6. So I did 2 blocks of butter and 750 grams of icing sugar, and then I realised that I don't actually need that much because it's a 4-inch. So I didn't need that much and I made that much. So now I've got loads of chocolate buttercream. So I'm just going to keep it in the fridge and I will use it on something else. I think I might, no, I can't use it today. I actually had some spare mix. So I had to make an extra layer for the 8-inch cake later, just because I wanted it to be a bit taller. I find that some recipes make bigger layers than others, and my Victoria sponge recipe makes slightly thinner layers than the chocolate one that I use. It's just like the way they rise. So I had to make an extra layer, and in order to split the recipe, it's like really, really complicated. So I just thought, oh, I'll make 2 layers rather than 1, even though I only need 1. And then what I've done is I've put it in a heart tin, and I'm going to take it to the barbecue later, and then I'll decorate it with my niece. And then I thought I might make a little reel of her decorating it for my Instagram, because I'm trying to get more like onto reels on Instagram, because I actually quite like them, but they just take time. Use the inside of the colour mill lid to pierce a small hole in the foil, then replace the top. I'm really intrigued by this because I think that's what I did. That, oh my god! I never noticed that. So I do normally do that. The way I do it is I normally get either a sharp knife or a pin, and I prick a hole in through there so that I know that it's not like fully open. However, I do find that if you squeeze it a little bit too hard, it can still leak. Hence, like, oh, you can't actually see, but you can kind of see there's like loads of colouring all on the bottles, and that is because they still sometimes leak, but it does definitely make it less leakage if you pierce a hole. But yeah, I've done that, but I just didn't know that you could use the lid. I always use like a pin, but that's a good idea actually, so I will use that in future. Thank you. What do you do with leftover coloured buttercream? It really depends. Sometimes it unfortunately goes to waste. Sometimes it can stay in the fridge. So you can keep it in the fridge and just write the sell-by on it, because obviously as long as you haven't added milk to it, which I don't, I literally just mix butter and icing sugar together. So because there's no other ingredients, it's got the shelf life of the butter, so and the icing sugar, but the butter will be shorter than the icing sugar, pretty sure, I'm assuming. Where did it say? That's actually really interesting. Does icing sugar not have a sell-by? Am I only just realising this now? Because I always buy it and I use it within a couple of days, so I've never looked. But they don't have sell-bys on them, which is really interesting. But yeah, I go by the sell-by on the butter if I am keeping the buttercream in the fridge. So I just pop it in like a container, and then you can just microwave it to make it softer. However, I have found that if you microwave it a bit too much, or you leave it at room temperature and it goes a bit too soft, then it's very difficult to use. So I do normally just make fresh buttercream, because then it's the right consistency. But yeah, you can keep it in the fridge, just like label it, make sure that you've got what it has in it. If it has milk, then obviously I think that the sell-by might be a couple of days, I'm not sure. That's why I don't use milk, because it doesn't keep as well, and it has a shorter sell by. Hello to all the new people joining. The most talented girl on YouTube, love to watch your videos. Thank you, that's really sweet. So, what are we doing? Shove that in there. I'm going to wash my hands. We have the figures here. This one's a little bit bent, which is very annoying. I don't know why, but it's a bit bent. Then we have these. Can't actually see very well. I get these off Amazon. I buy the same pack every time because I've done a similar cake to this, like frozen themed. And I buy the same pack every time. I charge the customer, obviously, but they are $13.99, I believe. So you get like a whole set, which is really good. But yeah, for some reason, this time, this one is bent. I don't know if it's meant to be like bent so that it's on like a bit of an avalanche, but obviously on a cake, it doesn't really work. So, does anyone have any questions before I start making the chocolate bars? I am gonna prep all the chocolate and everything first. Oh, actually, I've got some exciting announcements, so we can talk about that. So, I need a bowl. Bowl. Not that one. It's too big. There we go. So, announcements. That's what I was on about. I have some new products coming out, which I'm very excited about. So, I don't know if anyone follows my personal account, but if you do, then you probably know that I love my dog to bits. She's like a child to me. And I've been wanting to do it for probably about a year, but I wanted to do some kind of dog product, but I didn't know how, and I didn't know what I was going to do. And then I recently saw some people doing pup cakes and stuff, and I was like, oh, that looks really good. And then I thought, why don't I do a dog drip cake with dog donuts to come with it, and it will be in my sort of style, and it will come with all this extra stuff. And Cleo's birthday is coming up, which is why I kind of came up with the idea again. And I was like, well, I'll just make her a dog cake for her birthday, and I've done a test run and it's great. And I thought I'll make her one for her birthday, and then if I like it, then I can sell it. So I'm going to be selling dog cakes as well. As far as I'm aware, I will be doing some videos on it. Not necessarily for you guys who are normal bakers or human bakers, I guess, but it might help anyone else that is wanting to start a dog cake business. But as far as I'm aware, I've done loads of research on what you need, and they don't use any meat products. It doesn't use anything that isn't a human ingredient, which is why, as far as I'm aware, it's fine to do it in the same kitchen as my cakes. I have a separate mixer, which you can't actually see, but it's here. So I do have a separate mixer for the dog ones, just because if I'm using loads of peanut butter and stuff, then I kind of just want to use it in a separate mixer. And you use more whole ingredients, whereas these are more cake ingredients. So I don't know, I just kind of wanted to keep it separate. And the frosting uses yogurt, stuff like that, so I thought it just keeps it separate. But like I say, it's all human ingredients, so that's why, from the research that I've done, you don't have to have a separate kitchen, whereas some people do have to have a separate kitchen if they're using chicken flavorings and stuff, because obviously I don't use that in my cakes, so it would be quite different. But yeah, so I'm going to be making dog cakes. It's a dog carrot cake is the one that I've made, and there's also, I can do apple, which sounds really nice, and then I also want to try a Marmite, because they can also eat Marmite. So yeah, that's the plan. And I'm going to be doing dog cakes, and then I've also, which is an extension off of my scrunchies, I've found a pattern for, or I've made a pattern because I've adapted it quite a bit, for dog bandanas. So I'm going to be doing dog bandanas as well, because I thought they were really cute, because I've actually already made Cleo a bunch of those, but I just never thought to sell them. So she's already got a bunch, and my family has 5 dogs, so it's plenty of advertising, because I can take photos of all these dogs with cakes and with bandanas, and it's a different dog each time. So I have like loads of dog models basically. So that's one of the updates. And then the other one was, what was it? Oh no, there's actually quite a few. So the other thing is I'm going to be offering tutorials. So obviously it depends on your have you made any videos on company registration? Yes, and I've done it like extensively, so it should cover all of your questions. If you go to my channel, there's a little folder called paperwork. Look in that, because that should cover everything. And then if you have any questions after that, then message me on Instagram. I don't take any emails or phone calls. I also wanted to mention, because I don't know where people got my phone number from. It might have been like from an order on my website and stuff, but don't call my personal phone because I won't pick up. I just like send a message and say if this is relating to YouTube, then that's it. Because yeah, I have had quite a few people like calling me at all hours, asking me questions about like starting a business. So yeah, I don't accept phone calls from anyone that isn't like a cake order, and that's, I don't really give my phone out for that either, or like family, but yeah, I don't accept phone calls anyway. But yes, so I'm going to be doing tutorials, so it's going to be via like Zoom. So it's going to be like a class, basically one-to-one class that people can buy if they wanted a one-to-one session, because obviously these, I'm doing something already, I'm not teaching you. You can learn from these, so I'm not saying that you have to do those, but it's a tailored class, so I would show you specific things. And we would make the cake together, and you would ask questions that you have and you would get answers, rather than like a general chit chat that we're doing now. So I thought that might be quite helpful for people. And there'll be an option to do crumb coat and final coat / final decorations, and you can opt to do both, and then you'll book 2 slots. So you'll book one the day before, and then the next day we'll decorate it. So then you'll have 2 slots with me. But yeah, so that's also another thing that I'm doing, just because I really want to get into teaching, but I'm not big enough where I can do, or I don't even know how I would do it yet. So it's like in the pipeline for a few years. I really want to do like classes for kids in like summer holidays, stuff like that. But I need to look out like places to rent and all kinds of stuff like that, like whether you can rent halls and things like that. So that's something that's like a way away, but I'm thinking that people seem to quite like the YouTube, so maybe that'd be helpful. So that's the other thing. And then also I'm doing mix boxes now. So there is blondies and brownies in a mix box of individuals. So you can still buy the trays, but this is like individual flavors. So you get 6 different flavors rather than like one tray of one flavor, and it being like all blondie or all brownie. So again, I thought people might like that. Also, just put it out there, if anyone's joining, we're waiting for the cake to set. That's why I'm chatting. I'm not just chatting for no reason. Yeah, the cake probably needs at least another like 10 minutes before I can final coat the fault line, and then it will need to go back in there again. So yeah, that's what we're waiting for. I think my tea is also like stone cold, so I'm not going to drink that. Right, I am going to melt this chocolate for these chocolate bars. So for anyone that doesn't know how to melt chocolate, I'm just using buttons. It can be like anything. But yeah, Milky Bar buttons is what I'm using today. It just varies depending on what I have in the cupboard. And I do it for 22 seconds at a time. I don't know why, but my microwave is just, that's the perfect amount. 22 seconds works as like short bursts, and I just do that until it's melted. Followed you on Instagram, thank you. Yeah, feel free to message me anything. Right, let's melt this chocolate. This is the little, right, I think that's working. We cut out for a minute. I'm just checking my iPad to see whether my signal's come back. I think it has. Yeah, as I was saying, this is the little heart cake that I'm taking to my brother's for the barbecue. So I'm going to decorate that with my niece. It's just one layer. It's not going to have any filling or anything. It will just be buttercream on the top, just because it's just to decorate, like for a bit of fun for her. I can't remember how old she is. I think she's 5. So yeah, I thought I'll just take it with me rather than throwing away the mix, because I didn't need another layer. I needed 1, not 2. So I've made the 1 and then this was just spare. So yes, we are going to take that with us. So I'm also going to put some silver leaf on this cake. So it just comes in these little like wallets, and then you keep it in the wallet and press it onto the cake. So I'm going to put that on there as well, I think. Yeah, that can be, I buy mine off Amazon. Yeah, gold leaf and silver leaf, they come in these little like wallets, but I buy them on Amazon. They're quite expensive, so make sure that you charge the customer for them, because I never used to do that. And this pack literally cost me £15, and it almost got lost in the post as well, which was heartbreaking. So I think we've just got 2 more bursts on the chocolate and then it's done. That is stone cold. That's actually nearly done. What I'm going to do before we actually do the chocolate, because that is set enough that I could do another layer, I think. We're going to do the purple layer on the cake, and then it means that we can shove it back in the fridge for 5 minutes, and then we can do the white layer to save time. So we'll do that first. So because I want a particular shade of purple, we're going to lavender colour mill, because I find that any other shade of purple goes a bit funny. It ends up being like more of a, it's not pastel basically, it just is a bit, it goes a bit horrible. What are you referring to? Do you mean bank account when you say business account? I think you do. I do have a separate one. However, I've only just set it up because I was having loads of issues with it. Basically, they didn't give me any account details. So you know how when you tell a customer how to pay you and you give them a sort code and account number, they didn't give me that. So I set up a business account, but they didn't give me any of those details. They gave me a card, but they didn't give me any of those details. So I couldn't actually tell people what to buy. Let me just close the door. Right, my sister just came in, that's why the dogs are barking at the door. Right. Oh, I'm so excited, this is gonna look so good. So, also another tip, if you want your buttercream whiter but you don't have colour mill white, you can use a tiny bit of lavender. So as you can see, it's slightly purple, but it's more white. Obviously you can add less than what I added, but I'm trying to get purple, so I added more. But yeah, that's another thing that I think I saw that on TikTok. I see so much stuff on TikTok that like teaches me. But yeah, so that's another way to get white buttercream. You can also add it to colours if they look a bit yellow. So if a tone is too, you might be able to do it with like the blue buttercream if it looks a bit green. Perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. So we have a very pastel purple, which matches, I don't want it this dark because I think that would look too much. So I've gone for pastel, and it goes with the blue as well. So we are going to pop that in a piping bag. Need another one. Right, cut the excess off because it annoys me. Pop that in there. Then, so I need to make sure that I do this higher so that the white can be lower. So that is actually lovely and set. I think it's because the fridge is so nice and cold and out here isn't, so it's setting really quickly. Also, I find that white chocolate buttercream sets a lot quicker than vanilla. And I think it's because I put melted chocolate in it, and obviously chocolate sets hard. So I think that makes it set harder than the vanilla. So we're going to do probably to about here, and then I'll do the white one to about there, I think. Let's see how it looks. I'm not going to go all the way up because obviously when I smooth it out, it will naturally go a bit higher anyway. I think this is actually going to be the perfect amount. Is it worth buying Colour Mill colours as they are a bit more expensive than usual colours? 100%. I wouldn't go back to others for certain things. So like the white, I would 100% recommend. And what others? The white and the black are just, you can't really match them like no other brand. And also particular colours. So like, for example, I have sage, which you can't get in like Colour Splash and stuff like that, and it actually be sage. Then you've got like dusk, which is a particular type of pink, whereas Colour Splash, things like that, they only do primary colours. Like they have your mixed ones, but it's like baby pink, hot pink. There's no in between, and I've tried 1,000 times to mix them and try and make them more pastel, and it's the tone that's the issue. So I would 100% say they're worth it. Also, you're not using a whole bottle. Like those bottles, some of them I've had them for a couple of months. It doesn't necessarily, you know, go quickly, but it just means that you have the right tone of colour. And also you only use like a couple of drops usually. Like I probably, of that purple, use maybe like 3 like squirts. But it's not like mass amounts of colouring, so they do last ages. So we're just gonna smooth this out. Like I say, I don't want it to be too thick, so I'm gonna smooth it out as much as possible to get a thin layer. and also it will set quicker if it's thin. Perfect. I'm actually loving how this is looking. I'm definitely glad I went for the bigger board because obviously by the time you add the fault lines on, it does get wider. So it's definitely a better idea having the bigger board. Right, that is going to go in the fridge again. So that's what it looks like. So it's quite thin. You can't do it much thinner because you might get air bubbles, and obviously we don't want that. So I've done it as thin as possible without creating any holes, because as soon as you create a hole, you then have to fill it. So we're going to shove that back in there while we do the chocolate bars. And then the bottom layer, because I thought that it would probably look quite nice, is going to be white. So the outside fault line is going to be white, because then it just brings a bit more white back into it, because obviously it is a lot of colours, and I feel like they don't clash, but if there's a lot of colours and no sort of like base colour like white or black, then I feel like they can sometimes look a bit too in your face. So yeah, I'm loving how that's looking. And also I can't wait to add this on because this is so cool. I haven't used a glitter one before. Also, you wait, I have so many plans for my birthday cake. It's going to be insane. I'm going to be doing another live, the same as I did last year. So I'm going to be making my cake probably the day after my birthday, I think. And then, because I'm having a barbecue on the Saturday. Or I might make it for my birthday and then just keep it in the fridge, because it will keep for 2 days afterwards, because as long as it's not cut, the buttercream will keep it from drying out. So yeah, we will be doing another birthday live, because I have nothing on the Thursday daytime, which is my birthday, the 18th of August. But I have work in the evening, so I'm actually quite looking forward to that, because I'm going to be working at the gym and I'm going to make a meal out of the fact that it's my birthday. I'm going to like wear a badge and everything so that everyone knows, because that's my kind of personality. I want as many like happy birthdays as possible. So enough birthday talk, because I'm so excited about it. I'm gonna get the chocolate out of the microwave. We're gonna shove it on this mold. We're gonna do the white first, then I'll colour the others, and then we're gonna shove that in the freezer. I usually put these in the freezer for a couple of minutes, and then I move them to the fridge once they're set, and then I just keep them in the fridge to like really set them. But I don't like to keep them in the freezer too long, because obviously it's chocolate. I don't want to freeze it, basically. Right, let's get the chocolate. Right, so I'm going to add a teeny bit of caramel white to this, because white chocolate does tend to look a bit yellow. And that's the other thing with caramel, you can't use anything else to colour chocolate, because it will either start to bloom where it gets lots of little dots in it. It might not happen straight away, it usually happens within like an hour. So you might make all this chocolate stuff and then it will start to get little dots in it where it's blooming. I find that I get that when I use Colour Mill or Colour Splash, not Colour Mill. Whereas when I use Colour Mill, because it's oil based, it makes the chocolate stay runny. Whereas if you add a water based colour to your chocolate, because it's water, it's going to make it split, because if you add water to chocolate it splits. So yeah, that's why if you're ever doing a drip and you're not using chocolate spread, you always do oil, because oil will make it runnier and it won't make it split. So yes, that is another tip for you. So Again, with these, I just wing it. Just pop a spoonful in there and just add more if you need to. Doesn't have to be perfect because I do tap it out to make it go into the corners. But I just sort of move it around to make sure there's enough chocolate in there. Right, I'm going to do purple because it's got a blue base. I don't think we need any more blue. I want a teeny bit, there we go. A little bit more. Oh, probably a bit too much. Oh no, that actually does work. Okay, perfect. And then we're just going to use all of the rest to make these. So we might have a few more purple ones than white. What is that coming up with? Do I make another one? No, you need a bit more. Right, shove those. Right. So we have our white there. I'm just going to do a little tidy up. If anyone has any more questions before we do the white coat, because then we'll be doing all the final decorations after that. So we've probably got about 5 minutes and then we will be back decorating. Don't need that. So we've got some spare colours, so what I'm going to do is I'll use these to decorate it with. I just need a little bit of piping to like stick things on, and then I'm going to need to make more for the board actually, so I might do that now while we have time. So I'm going to take all this rubbish around here. last year's birthday cake was epic. I've watched the video a few times. It was a lot. It was massive as well. I'm doing another 2-tier cake. I'm really tempted to make it a 3-tier. I don't have enough people coming round for a 3-tier cake, so I may just have to make one of them using a dummy. But I hate using dummy cakes because they're really light, so it's really difficult to actually make it. So yeah, either that or I'll make a cake and freeze it. Depends, not sure yet. But it's going to be a lot better than last year's. Like, my plan is to top it. It's going to have a lot more like elements to it. I'm planning to use like some of the polystyrene balls because I absolutely love those at the moment. There's still going to be dried flowers on it, and also I'm doing a completely different colour scheme because the past 2 years that I've made a birthday cake, the first one was horrible, but you know, first year and all that, so that's why it was horrible. But it was hot pink, which we will never be doing again. And then last year's was pink, orange and yellow. So I'm thinking of going for the complete opposite colour tone. I'm not going to release it yet though, because obviously I want it to be a surprise because I think it's going to look so good. But yeah, I'm so excited. It's going to be very, very good. Right. My butters were melting a bit too much, so I put them in the fridge. They're still actually a little bit soft, but I'm going to give it a second before I mix them because I want them to be a bit softer. But yeah, I'm very excited to make a cake for this year. It's going to be epic. So, so good. Yeah, I just need to decide on what. I think I'm going to do like a different technique for each layer because that's what I did last year and I really liked it. So one layer I did scallop, one layer I did like smudges, so I'm thinking of doing the same thing. There's a fly which won't leave me alone. Yeah, I'm thinking of doing like one maybe bubble, one drip, one like smudges but not smoothed. I've been seeing loads of people doing these like palette knife details on their cakes, and that's what I want to do for one of the layers because I think it will look really cool. You don't like smooth it out, you just like use a palette knife and kind of paint it on, so that looks really cool. But yeah, there'll be a video going up for that. Well, it will be a live, but that will be really, really good. I cannot wait. So I'm going to cut this up so that it mixes a bit easier. So I don't need 2 blocks. What am I doing? 1 block just for the board. I'm going to do white for the base because then it will look like snow and it's Frozen themed. And it also means if I have any white left over from this, I can add it and then we'll use that for the board. So again, trying to limit wastage. I find that if you're smart about it, you can limit the amount of like buttercream and stuff that goes to waste if it's coloured, by just like planning when you colour it. So like not doing anything to the white. And what I did, I used less purple than I thought I would need, because then if you need more purple, you can just take from the white and make more. Whereas if you do too much of a colour and then you don't need it, it kind of goes to waste. And also when you have free reign on a cake, it's a bit easier, but like obviously they've given me a design brief, which was a design I've already made, like is one of mine. But they've kind of said something like this. So it means that, say I have this extra purple, I can put that in a piping bag and use it for the top, even though it might have had white in the picture, because they've given me free reign, so I can change slightly different things, so that I'm not wasting that buttercream. So yeah, it works quite well when you have free reign on a design. So we've got white buttercream there, that's made. So we don't need that yet, but we can put it to the side. This white is already leaking and I only pricked a little hole in the top. That's the thing, colour mills are so expensive and they do leak. So upsetting. Wash my hands and then we're going to check if the cake's done. I'm going to take a photo of the cake outside today. I'm literally going to pop it down, take a photo and then run away. Because the weather is so nice and I have this table which faces onto the grass, so then you get grass as a background, or you can hold it, either way, but the grass is a really nice background because it's green, so it always looks really nice. But I can only obviously do that in summer because the weather just isn't nice enough to take a cake outside otherwise. Right. It's still a little bit on the soft side. Like it's set, but I worry that if I scraped against it, it would move. So we're going to give it a second. I'm going to get those chocolate bars out, see if they are done. Yes, the chocolate bars are done. So I leave them on the mould just because it acts as like a plate in the fridge. But I just turn them over so that they're out. I'll show you them a bit closer in a second. But the thing about the silicone moulds is they obviously move, so you can just peel them off the chocolate. So it's a lot easier. So those are little chocolate bars. Absolutely love using these. They are so cute. Right. We're going to pop those back in the fridge, so they don't need to go in the freezer. Rest those in there. I'm going to quickly have a drink of water while we're waiting. For anyone that's joined late, I will be doing another live at 7 PM today, decorating a different cake, which is going to be a 50th cake. So if anyone is free in the evening and wants to join, I know that people are usually more free in the evening, and like, for example, people are probably doing stuff now because it's sunny. But yeah, so I do usually try and do the lives in the evening, but I just had time this morning and I obviously had to do it before I went out, so I thought I'll do it before. Have you ever made chocolate vanilla marble cupcakes? They're a bit of faff, as you say. I love the word faff. I feel like it wouldn't be that difficult. I think it would probably take you like 5 minutes extra, because what you would do is it's just the mixing, which is really quick for cupcakes. So you would just mix the ingredients together, make half the mix in vanilla, half the mix in chocolate, and then just mix it together, put it aside, mix it together, put it aside, and then just sort of put it in there. I have never had the desire to make them, just because I don't, like, you don't really see it. Like, you see it when you eat it, but yeah, I don't know. I've just never felt the need. Also, I make cupcakes, but mine are more popular for the topping opposed to the inside. So like people like when I do all the different styles of piping on them, and that's what people sort of buy into. Whereas I don't really advertise any like marbling or anything like that, or like different coloured. I don't do any like multicoloured sponges. I did it once, like a rainbow sponge, and that was because it was for a regular, and that was for a normal cake. But obviously I'm colouring the layers at a time, so it's a lot easier. I'm not making 2 separate mixes, I'm just colouring each layer. And I actually found that you could colour it in the tin. So I just added a bit of colour to the tin, mixed it all around, didn't even have to do it in separate bowls or anything. But yeah, it is probably a bit of faff making 2 separate mixes. And like I say, you don't see it really from the outside. You just see it when you eat it. But I'm too busy eating it, so I wouldn't notice. So yes, that is my take on that. This fly won't leave me alone. It's just buzzing around my kitchen. But I have to have the doors open because it's so hot. I am considering getting like a fly net. That's what I'm gonna buy basically. So I like put it across the patio doors so that they can't come in but the air can get in. Right. That's in the piping bags, that's ready. I'm gonna cut the end off so that we're ready to go. I can't decide whether to do this as a scallop or not because the photo had a scallop. What are we thinking? She hasn't specified if there's a particular preference, so I might do a scallop, change it up a bit. Do I have a small... It must be over there. So I've got a big scallop, but I think that might be too big. So I might also be able to use do I have? Don't think I do. No, so it will be either that one or no scallop. So let's have a little look-see. I think this may be too big. We'll give it a go. I can always flatten it out. So there we go, that's nice and set. I don't want too much of the purple to be on show, so I'm going to go quite high. Right. No. I think it will look weird with the scallop. There's a lot more air bubbles in the white than there was in the other colours. Which is what you want to avoid. Air bubbles. Should have just left it. You know when you try and fill in one air bubble and then now I've opened up loads more. Right, let's hope this is the last way around. I literally just spoke on this. I don't answer any phone calls or texts. Like, unfortunately, you have to realise that I need a personal life and a work life, and I cannot answer any phone calls. So if you WhatsApp me, I won't respond. If you call me, I won't respond. You have to go through either YouTube or Instagram messages. That's the only way that I reply to people, because I get so many messages and so many comments from people that I can't take phone calls from people. Otherwise it would take me all day, unfortunately. Yeah, it's just like the one rule that I do have is that I don't accept phone calls. Right. Oh, so many air bubbles. This is so annoying. I literally tried to fill in one and then now I've just opened up so many air bubbles that don't want to fill in. Okay, that's gonna have to do, because the more I go over it, the more air bubbles I make. Right, so that's what we're going to use for the board. Sorted. I'm going to do the board, because I want it to look like snow, I think I'm going to do like dots all over it. So that it kind of recreates that look. Right, I have about 10 minutes until I need to leave. So we should be able to get this finished. Right. I'm going to mix this all together to make sure that it's the right tone of white, otherwise it might not be. My little rubbish pot. I'm going to reuse this piping bag as I can. I try and reuse them where I can. If it's cut to a nozzle size, then it's a bit more difficult, but this one's just got a hole in the bottom, so. Right, let's try this theory out. I'm wanting to just do dots all over like that. Okay, perfect. I don't really check Facebook. That's why I don't recommend it, because I usually check my Instagram like throughout the day, whereas I don't have the Facebook app. I literally just use it for messaging cake customers. But if you have any questions, I'm doing a Q&A tomorrow. So if you comment them on this live or send them to me in a message on Instagram, then I can reply to them in the Q&A if they're like general questions, because also I might have covered them in a video, so then I can let you know. Okay, so right, that is the bottom. I am going to put the silver leaf on now before I do anything else. I'm also going to do a bit of silver splatter. That was really big. I need to make that smaller. I think I may have seen the message. Yeah, I just haven't got round to replying because like I say, I get so many messages. But I will try and get back to it. But like I say, I've got these cakes to do today, so it probably won't be this weekend. It will probably be maybe the start of next week, depending on how free I am. Right, I'm going to cut that because it's really long. Right. I think I'm going to put the name on the board because it was on the front of the cake before, but I think it will look too, because it's quite big. So I think I'm going to put it on the board. Right, silver splatter. Need to pour that out. Lovely. Right. So Right, we need a nozzle. I'm going to shove that in the fridge quickly for a second because it is warm in here. Oh, I can't because it won't fit. Okay, I need to move the fridge around a little bit. Not fit in there now. I have to take this out for a second. Right, we need to put that in a piping bag. The dogs are barking. Where is my nozzle? Right, I have not very long. Right. What am I doing? Need to make space in here while waiting. No, that's not gonna fit. How am I going to organise this? There we go. Right, another drawer has been taken out in order for it to all fit in. And then I'm going to pop this back in so that it sets. Right, so we're probably just thinking I don't need the nozzle because I think to match the snow down here, I'm gonna do the same like dot motion at the top here, just so that it all blends. Otherwise, I'm gonna be doing like a really nice piped bit up here and it's not gonna match. So, and then we need to get these characters on here somehow. So, cut that off because her feet look really funny. How are you? I love your apron. I am very, very good. I hope you are too. My apron is actually from HomeSense, and I love it. I've got another one that's got cats on it. I don't think I actually want all of these on here because I think they will look a bit, I don't know. Their feet definitely don't go on these little platforms, so I'm taking all of those off. I'm just going to put these guys in the background. He's the one that's with the donkey, I think. The donkey? Whatever it is. So I'm going to put him around that side. And then this one, the prince, I'm going to put him on the other side. Uh-oh. He's got snow on his arse now. Wipe him off. There we go. And then, what we're looking for, chocolate bars. Then we're going to put some bigger pearls on, and then we are done. Also, what I love about these silver pearls from Tesco's, they're so shiny. Like, I'll show you the cake a bit closer up, but they just glimmer so much. So it means they really stand out on the cake. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Right, we're going to take this spare buttercream to my brother's. I need to make, I'll make 2 colours, but I'll do that off camera. So, this is the finished cake. I'm going to shove it in the fridge while I change, and then I'll get some photos of it outside. But this is what it looks like. So you can see the little chocolate bars on the top, the name plaque, and then the figures are on there. So yes, that is all finished. Right, shove it back in here. Right, and then we will be back to do the other one later. So you can expect to see that. There will be a live notification come up at some point. What we're doing. Right, I hope that you all enjoyed, and I'm going to love you and leave you because I'm going to be fashionably late to this barbecue. Everyone else has left. So yeah, we will be back later for the live at 7ish. Right, Bye!